Mr. Mad Mac.
Mr. Mad Mac, how you doing?
Yeah, yuck. Hey, listen, I wanted to call you last week when you had the discussion with D-Lo regarding the fire department.
Okay.
The funniest, it was, I told D-Lo 10 minutes before that, I said, listen, when you get the mayor on, he is going to slice and dice those guys to pieces. And as much as I'm not the greatest fan of what always goes on in Lake County politics, it was like that was WJOB's like top 3 greatest hits of the last 5 years.
Oh, thanks, man. Mr. Mad
Funniest
Mac.
conversation I ever heard. And because I actually do work right over near state line over in that neighborhood, just north of the expressway.
Uh-huh.
And I had a lady come out to me who I've seen, in the last month as I'm working. And she goes, hey, what does this mean? What does this mean? I'm like, no, it's okay. She's like, is the fire department not going to come anymore, or what are they doing? And I told these guys, I go, you're scaring these people to death. She had me hook up 2 hoses on the side of her house because she really thought the fire department was no longer coming.
And then you're talking about the Robertsdale part of Hammond, and the Robertsdale part of Hammond's manning hasn't been touched. It's been the same for the entire time I've been mayor, and it's the same now. That's the thing.
It's just north of the expressway on Holman and State Line there.
Okay.
I don't know what that neighborhood. Where all the old beautiful homes are.
Right. It's a beautiful area over there. But the thing is, it's frustrating for me because we lost $15 million to the property tax caps, and I'm doing everything I can to keep the level of service the same and still make ends meet. This is what the voters wanted, right? They voted 70% of Hoosiers voted for the property tax caps, and I'm sure a lot of the firemen voted for the property tax caps as well, and I'm just trying to do what I have to do to live within the property tax caps. So I don't have a problem with the Hammond Fire Department. I just have to do what I have to do.
When you the property tax caps, weren't the firemen, didn't they rally around you and help you?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Didn't the firemen go with you downstate, you and Dave Hammond, and rally around and go to the State House to try to fight against the property tax cap?
I didn't fight against the property tax cap, Chris. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. What do you mean, okay? That's the truth. I mean, if you put yourself back in that time frame, it was obvious that it was going to pass. And no offense, but I had an election coming up. I'm not going to jump out in front of an issue that's obviously going to pass. I didn't go to the State House.
So Dave Ham didn't go with a busload of fire.
Dave Ham went down to the firehouse. He went down to the State House. He did, and we talked about that on last week's show.
Well, exactly. So if the firemen were informed, which a lot of people weren't, like you say, and you're right, a lot of people voted for the same tax.
70% of Hoosiers.
But we were informed, and so to say that I voted for tax cap.
I didn't say you in particular. Obviously, Chris, you're a Hammond firefighter?
Yes, I just stopped to help out Jed's daughter. She's okay with police.
Thank you very much. That's great. And by the way, Chris, I have a feeling I know who you are, and I appreciate the job you do.
You know who I am.
I know. And you know what? I didn't put it together. But Chris, let me tell you, as far as lobbying, the Hammond Fire Department did a great job, but it was an impossible situation. Right? As you know, the property tax caps were on a freight train going through the State House, and there was no way that it was going to be stopped in the General Assembly. It went through 2 different General Assemblies and was passed both times, and then it went to the voters, and it was passed by 70% of the voters. I mean, that thing was going to pass. But you're right. Dave Ham did go down to the State House, and Dave Ham said something when he was the fire chief that I was really uncomfortable with, and you could ask him, because when he got home, Dave got quoted on the AP statewide saying basically, if you guys pass these property tax caps, people are going to get hurt.
I just got one question on the fire truck deal. You didn't lay any firemen off, right? There's no.
I've never laid off one fireman, and nor do I plan to. And Dave, and I'll let you continue with your question. I interrupted you. I have personally spoken to the least seniority fireman. He's a man named Joe Sinclair. I've talked to him a number of times. I said, Joe, we hired you. You're going to be with us. Meaning, because if I did have to lay off, Joe would be the first person to go. And I've talked to Joe a number of times, and I do not plan to lay off any firemen. I plan to continue to drift like we have been. And by the way, we've been running with this new format since January 1st, and quite frankly, I don't think most residents even realize it. It's because we have plenty of fire protection. Every single day in the city of Hammond, I have 41 Hammond firefighters working every single day. You compare that staffing to any other municipality anywhere north of Indianapolis, and we're either we're either the highest or we're very dang close. So and I stand by. We're the best, most protected city in northern Indiana, and I'm proud of that, Dave.
Yeah, and I understand, and I think that the firemen that are mad because that you're taking the ladder truck away is you disperse them out in other areas. Maybe they're going to have to do a little more. And I work in a steel mill, and I understand that they've been dispersing jobs out here for years, and now let's get into other areas, and they need to understand, hey, got to do what you got to do to save money for the city.
If we used to have 4 trucks that did 1,000 calls, and I'm making numbers up, I'm just saying, for instance, if we had 4 trucks that used to do 1,000 calls between the 4 of them, the calls are going to remain the same. But if you only have 3 trucks, that means each truck is going to work harder, right?
That's right.
Okay. Maybe that's a little bit of where they're coming from. Maybe the firemen like, going to the house and not having a call for a couple shifts in a row. Maybe that's what they want.
That's right. They do, maybe, and I'm not knocking the firemen. I think they do a great job in the city.
I do too.
But they're going to have to do a little more work. Well, then they got to deal with it because times are tough right now. We need to save money the best way we can. And I think you did the right call. I think you did a good thing. I think there's a lot of people at Hammond that realize that say the same thing, but they just don't want to call you and say, "Hey, you did a great job. You made the right decision." And you know what, firemen, tough it up. Let's just move on.
Thank you very much for your call, Dave.